and hit the like button. Become part of the community. Subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Come into our community. We're open. This is the Irish community where we're orange pilling people. We're teaching people about Bitcoin. I'm learning, you're learning, we're learning. We're all supporting each other through the good times. We're high-fiving in the good times, and we're supporting each other, educating, and keeping each other accountable in the bad times. Jesus, I'm a bit sweaty looking there now. I'm going to have to be out for doing a few wheelies on my bicycle. Are you allowed to do that in your 40s? Fucking right you are, lads. Okay, and I won't let anyone hear difference. This is what they're not talking to you about Bitcoin. Just while people are jumping into the room there on the YouTube and on the Facebook, I'll allow you your daily exercise. All right, you know the drill. Take that finger. All right, you're looking at me, the mad head in me, and you're going, this lad's fucking not right. All right, but do this with me. We have 50 people there on the live and whatever. We probably have 75 people. I want you all doing that. Wherever you are in your house, come on, stretch her out. Do this with me. All right, and on 3, on 2, on 1, I'm getting a cramp. Hit the like button. Lawrence is on, Terence is on. Say hello in the comments there. David's on. The good thing about coming live at this time is I think the scammers are in bed. It's their bedtime now. So we should be alright, but who knows? There'll probably be a Crypto With Dinny prize or competition or something in the comments there now in a second. But just a couple of things that they're not telling you about Bitcoin. Because guys, we've seen our portfolios. If you've been investing in this market for a couple of years, you've seen your portfolio go up and come back down. If you've been only investing into this market for 1 year, you've just seen your portfolio come down. Might have gone up a bit and down a bit. Okay, and that hurts and it's painful, and that's why your conviction comes from your education. There's a reason why Bitcoiners ride the volatility, and why I always say nobody got lucky in Bitcoin. Any people who have got Bitcoin wealth, they deserve it, because they put the time into their education in order to build their conviction to ride through the volatility. So fair play to them. They deserve everything they got, and it's very naive to think they got lucky. We know now, any of us who've been in the space, we know ain't nobody getting lucky in this thing. It takes work and education to build that conviction, to be able to ride through the volatility. But a couple of things that they're not telling you about Bitcoin, okay? We're looking at the price. And retail, we're retail, I'm retail, I'm not a professional money manager. I'm just a pleb, I've ran a few companies and built a few businesses, and I've done pretty well, but I'm not a professional money manager, okay? And when I first started investing, you look at the price of something, and the price will determine if you buy it or not, okay? And that to me was a really interesting lesson, okay? That price and value are totally not the same. It doesn't matter how expensive something is if there's value in it. And I just finished my workshop and I was talking to the guys about investing into yourself, and I told them the story of, one of the products I invested into was a course that was 16 grand. So it was 1,000 quid a month or 1,000 quid a week, okay? And it was for 16 weeks, and it was an intensive course. And that's a hell of a lot of money. Even to me today, 16 grand is 16 grand. And this was a good few years ago. But it didn't matter, because that course helped the business that we were running at the time go from a 6-figure business to a 7-figure business. So what the hell is 16 grand if you're adding a zero to how the business is operating? And when I first went into the business, there's not a hope in hell I would have took out, paid for a course for 16 grand. Because I would just say, oh, well, sure, I can do one here. There's nothing like doing one for 500 quid. I'll do that one. That's cheaper. Okay. So with Bitcoin, we look at price. But what I want you guys to do is forget the price. Okay. Well, don't forget the price. You'll see opportunity when you understand these things. Okay. Forget the price. Price is not important. We're investors. Investors are people who are seeing the future before the future is the present, I suppose. So we're seeing into the future, and we're sort of making speculations or bets and positioning ourselves that we do a bit of work on something. We think, okay, this is undervalued. It's going to be valuable. It's not valuable today. There's going to be some volatility, but in the future, I think this is undervalued and this thing is a lot more valuable. And that's sort of the conclusion I came to on Bitcoin, and the reason why I own Bitcoin and saving Bitcoin and dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. Okay, but one thing that I haven't seen talked about is Bitcoin's hash rate hit an all-time high this week. Okay, so the hash rate is, in computer science terms, don't ask me to understand it or to explain it, because I couldn't. Okay, but the hash rate is basically the power of the network, and that hit an all-time high this week. Okay, so while price is down, the network has never been stronger. When people think, oh, Bitcoin's going to go away and Bitcoin's going to be banned and all this other nonsense, they don't understand what they're talking about. Bitcoin's a network, okay? It's used the aspect of community. You guys know I try and build a community. I try and take you in, subscribe to the channel, become part of the community. Come on, comment, let's know your name. because it's better together. Well, Bitcoin leveraged that, leveraged community of getting all these massive computers, syncing them all up together, okay? Bitcoin's network is 200 million. 200 million, okay? 200 million times more powerful than the second largest supercomputer in the world. That's how like when your friend says to you, that thing will be gone. How will that be there in 5 years' time? It's like, well, it's the largest supercomputer in the world. Look at the hardware, look at the footprint of that thing. Okay, the infrastructure, the manpower, the human capital that are involved in just running this thing. Okay? So the hash rate is hitting an all-time high. Highest it's ever been. Alright? That's pretty interesting. And the price is corrected. I suppose substantially from 60k, but the hash rate is at an all-time high. Another thing that I think is like really worth paying attention to, okay, and possibly even more so than the hash rate. Some people argue with me over that, but it's the adoption. Okay, hit the like button if you're liking this. Throw a comment in. Become part of the community, I suppose. And I know I haven't done a heap of live videos, but I know that morale is down, and people need to understand fundamentals in times that morale is down. And the Bitcoiners, they are just scrambling for cash and liquidating whatever they can. And because obviously it's opportunity. I think Lauren said something there in the comments. He gets it. Okay. However, the thing I've heard before is people get Bitcoin at the price they deserve. And that works on the bottom, that if you buy Bitcoin for cheap, you deserved it. But it also works on the top. If you're too greedy and you ape in and then the thing corrects, well, you kind of deserve that as well because you didn't do your work. So I would say don't ape, invest in education. Use this time to invest into education and use the dollar cost average strategy to hedge yourself, and don't use money that you can't afford to lose. That's the basics of investing. Not financial advice here, but that's the basics of investing. And that's why if people are crying about their crypto positions and they're really upset over it, well, they're not investors because they were using money they needed. It doesn't matter what price my Bitcoin is, whether my Bitcoin is valued at 60k or 20k, I still have one Bitcoin if I have one Bitcoin. Okay, and I don't buy a Bitcoin for the price of it tomorrow, next week. I buy a Bitcoin for the price of it in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and forever. Okay, so when you understand that, it's like the short term is just noise and it's opportunity. But I'm waffling here now, so get back on point, Dinny. We have a good crew on here, so it's good to see us all. I'll try and keep an eye on the comments. There's always comments in there, fair play. Anthony's on as well. Anthony gets it. I knew Anthony would get this. Anthony gets it a long time. Fair play, man. Good to see everyone on. I can't see all the comments, but I'll definitely have a look when I'm finished. The stream, David, love reading the Bitcoin standard and the fiat standard, recommends it to everyone. Price is also a lagging indicator. Bitcoin is the soundest form of money ever created. High stock to flow, saleability of space, scale, time, fundamentals hasn't changed. It's just on sale at the moment. Who's that? Sorry, the name is gone there, but you'll see it in the comments. That person has done a bit of work and they're stacking. And in 5 years' time, when people say they got lucky, you'll know you didn't get lucky. You just done the work. But anyway, here's a couple of indicators that are really worth paying attention to. Internet grew at around 60% a year and it saturated the world in 2 decades. Bitcoin seems to be growing at double that rate. Okay, so while we're looking at price and we're looking at clickbait newspaper headlines, meanwhile behind the scenes, this thing is getting adopted at wildfire. I've heard that we were too privileged. We don't need Bitcoin. We don't understand Bitcoin. We don't need to understand Bitcoin. We just use it as a get rich quick. But in different parts of the world, it's their lifesaver, it's their lifeboat. And these people are adopting Bitcoin at wildfire rates. So other things that are at all-time highs are 0.001 of a Bitcoin. Wallet addresses with 0.001 of a Bitcoin, which is $20. Well, they're at an all-time high. Okay? And you're like, well, what's $20? I don't need to save $20. Yeah, I know. We're privileged. Do you know what I mean? Okay. But also 0.01, which is like 200 quid. Them wallet addresses are an all-time high. Okay? So this thing's being adopted. But it's more than that. Wallets with 0.1 of a Bitcoin in them. That's now $2,000. People who have $2,000 saved in Bitcoin. That's at an all-time high. So we're looking at price which is being manipulated by news and media and leveraging markets and manipulation and whatever. But fundamentally, this thing is just getting adopted. Okay, people are buying it up and opening Bitcoin wallet addresses and using it as a way to protect and store their value. Because someone put in the comments that there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, and there is. However, there's no uncertainty in Bitcoin. No uncertainty. It's just block by block. Every 10 minutes a new block. 21 million Bitcoin, that's all there ever is. The soundest form of money ever created. If you have a wallet, you can barter, trade, buy with anyone anywhere in the world permissionlessly forever. Okay? How good is that? Can you do that with your euros? You can at the minute. Can you do it forever? Who knows? Okay? Bitcoin wallet addresses with 1 Bitcoin, all-time high. So what you're seeing is this thing, it's not just that one wallet, a handful of people own all this thing. It's not like fiat currency. It's not like euros where there's a handful of really rich people in the world and they hold like 95% of the euros and the rest of us fight over the last 5%. No, Bitcoin is becoming more decentralized. It's becoming more spread around the world. Wallet addresses with 1 whole Bitcoin, all-time high. So these are the metrics you need to look at. For me, price is the last thing I'm interested in. In fact, when we get these corrections and crashes, you guys know if you've done any consulting with me, if you've done any of my workshops, if you've done any of my boot camps, if you've been to any of our events, if it's half the price, if I want to buy a fucking car and it's half the price, I'm delighted. If I want to buy a pair of runners and I'm looking them in the shop and then I find them for 60% off, I'm like happy days. If I see a hat that I like and I'm about to buy it and then I wait a week and I see it's 50% off, I'm delighted. And if I see Bitcoin and it's the same, I'm delighted. But most people aren't, because they're like, whoa, I want it at 60, but I don't want it at 20 because it might go to 0. You know, do some work. Just imagine the amount of human capital that's in this thing. Okay? This is the largest supercomputer in the world, and if it's on sale, for me that's opportunity and gift, and I'm dollar cost averaging. I'm taking those satoshis off the table. It's like buying the internet, except you couldn't buy the internet when the internet came around. Okay? But I think, and I don't think I'm alone in this, people much smarter than me think Bitcoin is as revolutionary as the internet. Because to me, all Bitcoin is, okay, hit the like button if you're enjoying these tips, throw a comment in, it's great to see it on. And if you want to help the Bitcoin adoption, you want to save people, share the stream, click a share in or tag your brother or your mother or whoever. Okay, because the only certainty we know is people saving euros are getting crucified. They're buying them less stuff and it's not going to change. We're going to have a recession and then we're still going to have a currency that's debased and it's going to buy you more stuff. And the average Joe or Jane on the street doesn't realise that they've worked their whole life to save 100 grand. What's 100 grand buy you now? You can see anyone in their 30s can't afford a house anymore. Like, where does it end? It doesn't end. If I was in my 20s and I've seen the world as it is now, I'd just go all in on Bitcoin. Because I'd be like, well, what choice have I got? I can try and chase fiat and I'll never get a house and I'll never get ahead. Bitcoin's not an absolute certainty. Some people might argue that with me, but it's not an absolute certainty. It's a very high probability. It's enough for me to go all in my 20s on it, and that's what I do. But you know, so the fiat currencies are an absolute fraud, and they're getting worse. And so what we do in Crypto With Dinny is just educate you about Bitcoin and just try and teach you about it and teach you not to focus too much on the price. And use a dollar cost average strategy where you're just accumulating Bitcoin. You're just accumulating, because I buy Bitcoin every week, okay, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and I'm not buying full Bitcoins. I'm just buying, you know, whatever I'm buying, 50 quid, 100 quid, and I'm just putting them away, okay. And the way I see Bitcoin is, okay, this is how I see Bitcoin, guys. Where's my fucking CD? Is it around? You'll see me waving around the CD, okay? And I like doing this because it just gives people, this is a physical thing. Okay, and it's gone because we transitioned to digital music, so we don't use these anymore. All right, there's a gold coin. That's a physical thing. All right, that's about to get replaced with a digital thing. It's already happening. We're in the journey. Okay, and gold is a store of value. Okay, and all Bitcoin is for me, it's loads of things. Okay, it's not just this, but this is one of the big things that I think Bitcoin is. It's a transition from physical store of value, owning property, owning the stock market, fucking owning a field, owning barrels of whiskey, wine, watches, classic cars, you know, anything that is scarce and will store your value over time. Okay, so there's loads of physical things. All right, it's a huge market, and Bitcoin's just a digital version of that. And just like Spotify is 1,000,000 times better than a fucking CD, or digital music is 1,000,000 times better than a CD, well, Bitcoin's 1,000,000 times better than the physical stores of value, because the physical stores of value have all the problems of existing in the physical world, and Bitcoin exists in the digital, so we can create perfection. And that's all it is. It's that simple. Okay, and there's a huge global market for store of value, and guess what, you still can't buy a coffee with this thing. That's when people get hung up on it, like, oh, I can't buy a coffee with Bitcoin, it's no good. It's like, yeah, there's an ounce of gold. Can you buy a coffee with that? No, that's not why you own it though. Dumbass. You own it for an investment. Okay? Now, you likely will be able to buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin in a couple of years, and you can in parts, and you can in Ireland if you choose to. But it's not a valid stumbling block. Bitcoin is the transition from physical store of value to digital store of value. That is fucking huge, guys. You have no idea of it. And as I said to the people, I had a free workshop today where I was orange pilling people and teaching them basics. I says, listen, even if you think this is absolute load of crap, all right, it's prudent. You would be an idiot not to go and get €100, buy some Bitcoin, buy yourself a hardware wallet, put it on it, and put it somewhere safe for a decade or two. Okay? Just as insurance, just in case. Just like 10 years ago, anyone who'd done that, they don't have to work anymore. They're very wealthy. They drive flashy cars. And we say they got lucky. Okay? So it's just a no-brainer. Even if you think it's an absolute joke and you can't get your head around it, well, just cover yourself. Just in case the world continues to move towards technology. And just like everything else that we've digitized, we might just digitize storing our value. Okay? Everything else is being digitized. From filing cabinets to the cloud. Michael Saylor goes on about maps, fucking music I like to go on about. But, you know, software is taking over our world. Why are we going to use physical store of value when we have digital store of value and it's perfect? Okay, it's a million times better. Well, we're not. It's pretty clear. But I have to spoon feed you. Guys, I hope you have a super evening. Thanks for being here. I hope you got some value. If you did, share it, tag, and spread the Crypto With Dinny message. Check out our podcast on YouTube. If you're not following it, there's some amazing guests we've had on, really teaching you fundamentals about all this stuff. And jump on the Crypto With Dinny website if you need any help with consulting, with building your own plan to retire early. That's what we do. We leverage this thing. You don't need to put all your money into it, but it's very dangerous to have no money in this thing. Okay? Have a little bit of exposure to this thing is all I'd say to you. And you just cover yourself. It's just insurance. Like, if 10 years time I'm wrong and your €100 didn't work out, what will it cost you? Well, you'll be paying €100 for a coffee in 10 years time, probably. Who knows? I'm joking. But yeah, no, lads, it's just basic stuff. If you need help with consulting, check out Crypto With Dinny website, cryptowithdinny.com. We've got workshops, we've got retire early plans, we've got all sorts of great stuff. And we do a lot of education on YouTube, on the podcast, all for free, okay? Ireland has to participate in this thing. We're being left behind. Bitcoin adoption is roaring behind the scenes. Our talking heads aren't talking about it. They don't give a shit. Okay, they're already multimillionaires. They don't care. They can survive this recession. They can survive the currencies expanding. You can't, I bet you. Okay, unless you protect yourself. Bitcoin is your insurance. Dinny out.